Hi everyone, welcome to the Monkey Patching Podcast, where we go bananas about all things bubbles, browsers, again, and more. My name is Murillo. I'm joined as my side host, Bart.
Hi, Marilla.
How you doing, Bart?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I have a bit of atypical surroundings, as you can see behind me. Yeah,
Indeed, really cool, really
I'm
cool.
actually on vacation, so it's a bit
Wow,
of this is
nature
the
vacation.
the holiday sessions of the Monkey Patching podcast.
Indeed, the listeners will see it's a bit different, but we'll still have stuff to talk about.
We'll still try to give a weekly update. It will be a bit shorter than you're used to, and it depends on me having a connection.
No, but we all appreciate you making the time. It looks like you're a very cool spot, so definitely enjoy. But then let's get
Thank
to
you.
it. Let's get to it. What do we have, Bart, starting up?
We have a technology writer Ed Zitron tears apart what he calls the overhyped generative AI gold rush, warning it's propped up by wishful thinking and unsustainable spending. As he bluntly puts it, we're in a goddamn bubble, prompting a no-holds-barred discussion on whether the boom will burst. So he has this very cool titled article called "The Hater's Guide to the AI Bubble," which is, of course, a play on the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Were you able to read it, Marilla? What do you think?
I had a look into it. I studied a bit. It is a long article. I think even he mentions like one last thing. One last thing. This new letter is near 14,500 words. It's long. Perhaps consider making a pot of coffee. So I think it's also well humored as well. But the author really goes over basically everything. Not everything that is wrong, but like why is so much a hype, and he defends a bit why this is something that we should be mindful of. So a few things that he mentions here is like NVIDIA's dominance on the market, right? So we have the other companies there that also profit from the AI thing, but most of them actually rely on NVIDIA. And he actually made some points like NVIDIA's growth relies on them selling more chips every year, right? Which is just they're assuming that they will do. He also mentions how most companies actually are not making a lot of profit from Gen AI. It's basically a lot of hype and talk, but it's not really revenue yet, right? And I think again it goes to people invest, even though people are investing on this a lot. They also mentioned that there's no value proposition, quote unquote, right? In the sense that there's a lot of people doing a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of overlap. A lot of times it's very easy to kill a lot of these startups that they are trying to show new value, because really and we're gonna see as well like browsers as well in the next topics, right? So it's not sustainable as well. He also doesn't like the terminology, the fact that people say agents for everything these days. So he kind of gathers a whole bunch of arguments to say that this is a bubble, which the way I read it is a bit like this is hype, right? Don't get too fooled into it, and why he doesn't, he's not riding the train, let's say. He's not on board of the train, the hype train.
Not riding the hype train, yeah.
He's not
I think
riding the
what you
hype
see
train.
in the community there are definitely people that are pessimistic about what AI is, what it could do, or the state that it's in. I think there are also a lot of haters, which you probably have whenever any big evolution occurs. And I think if you are a hater, I think this is your perfect Bible, because the
True.
arguments he lays out, like, I mean, you can't really have anything against it. Like he's saying like there's a huge ecological cost to these things. The capital expenditure is way higher than any revenue that is being generated on this today, and it's very much like going a bit against the extremes, and also a bit against this sort of a gaslighting optimism where everybody's saying, we're doing this, we're building AI so that we can decrease our workforce. So these are very weird things to rally behind, which we do see every day in practice today, right? That these things are being positioned as very positive, while a few years ago we would have very much questioned this. So I think I understand where he's coming from, and I do agree definitely with some points, but I don't really follow the part where the value in the future is not there because we don't see the profit today. And getting to that value, I mean, will probably go at huge ecological cost. But that's the difficult thing of this. Huh?
Yeah, indeed. I think, as you mentioned, it's very appealing for people that want to hate on the train, on the hype train. I think, like you said, I think he puts arguments as well that maybe also wonders like, oh yeah, he has a good point. But I think in its totality, I think it's a bit. I also wouldn't go as far right? To say like it's a bubble, that it's hype, and it's this and it's that. So I think there's more
And
to it than
of
this.
course, to some extent, it is hyped, and like it's being positioned as the answer to everything, and it's definitely not. Like if you see where it is today, like it's very good at coding, but it will not brew you your next cup of coffee, right? And bring
Yeah,
it to you.
yeah, indeed, indeed. I think actually,
It's good at some things today, and it has promise in other areas.
yeah, I also think that like that's a bit the problem. Like it promised so much, the whole Gen AI, agentic AI, that even if it does a lot, but it doesn't do everything that it promised, some people see it as a failure, which is not true, right? Like it still does quite a lot of stuff. So yeah, indeed, and I agree with you that there are also some other points to be considered, right? Like the environmental impact. There's a lot of like there was the I think OpenAI had the Stargate project, right? There's also stuff from China. There's a lot of stuff as well that shouldn't be overlooked, right? Which I think maybe brings us a bit to our second topic, and I'll skip a bit around the order. That Washington's latest AI blueprint combines export zeal with lighter green rules, aiming to outpace China by shipping full AI stacks, quote unquote, to friendly nations. By kicking off the push, Trump proclaimed, and I quote, America is the country that started the AI race, end quote. A line sure to spark global tech power chatter. Right. So again, a bit related to what we were saying. I think Trump administration, they unveiled a bit these what is it? Is it a
It's
I
an
don't know. It's
AI
not.
plan.
It's
It's a
an AI plan. Yeah.
it's a big plan. It's to become a bit like the or to become or to stay the dominant global player in AI. It's long plan. It's 90 points. I've went through it. Tried to understand a little
Oh,
bit. I think
90.
there's also no, not all 90. There's a bit of vague terminology, so I'll try to explain a little bit. What they want to do is that they want to form AI alliances with friendly partners across the globe, and in those AI alliances, they want to have no restrictions on export and import on, for example, AI chips, so hardware, software, services, whatever, to really strengthen their position in the AI game. The important nuance here is that those AI alliances, because the question there is like, who will this be? And the vagueness that is being introduced is that what they're saying at the same time is that they are scrapping the Biden area restriction on exports of AI chips, which sounds like now the exports to China will start up again. But it's actually not like that. That is not made concrete because it's not clear how these alliances will be formed, which partners, how the selection will be done. It's completely unclear, like what this definition of an AI alliance is between countries or regions. Next to those alliances, you also like there's also a focus on speeding up data center production across the US. To speed up is also they're scrapping some ecological barriers. So certain limitations that they had to adhere to, they don't no longer. So also raises questions around sustainability, of course. Another important thing is that they that this is at the federal level, so that means that it will basically consolidate the regulation of this of all states in the US. So they will have one policy on this going forward. But let's see. Like it's a big. There's still a lot of vagueness, especially on
Yeah.
what is the definition of AI alliance and how will it shape up.
Yeah. I think I also came across other articles that they were talking about China closing the gap in the chips race or the AI chips race and all these things, which to me feels a bit like it's a link to that. I think they're
Definitely,
also question.
I think it's a
Yeah, and I
fear
think
that to lose a bit this position as the leader in AI today. Yeah?
yeah, for sure. I also wonder if this has impact on the EU in the sense that EU is falling behind a bit when it comes to the AI race.
The question is if the EU has ever been relevant aside from ASML.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
actually, I think
maybe.
it's not officially linked. They didn't mention it, but the timing is very interesting. Is that I think yesterday at the Global AI conference, China, basically the Premier of China, they proposed a Global South organization to basically strengthen collaborations on across the Global South on AI. And it seems a bit as a reaction to this plan that is being proposed by Trump's government.
Yeah. we'll see. We'll see. I think also it's a bit like you mentioned, like you being relevant. But I think things like this to kind of scrape the whole environmental aspect to just say, let's just go fast and consolidate this position. I don't. It's also something that wouldn't happen to you probably, right? Like it's a bit.
Yeah, I find it's like also that you have these two very big powers. I find it interesting that there's just a quote unquote technological evolution, which is AI, and you have these geopolitical movements around us that almost feels like an arms race.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. Yeah, it gives me vibe of when I was in high school in Brazil and you're studying like the Cold War, you know, and
Yeah, exactly,
the race to
exactly. Yeah,
space and all these things. That's the vibe
yeah,
that I get.
yeah. The
It's
race to AGI.
yeah, yeah, the race to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. What else do we have, Bart?
We have Microsoft. Microsoft has a new Copilot mode in Edge, and it turns Edge into their browser. It turns Edge into a chat-powered helper that can juggle tabs, organize research, and even take voice commands. The update greets users with a single input box combining chat, search, and web navigation features. A neat cue for how browsing may soon feel. So yeah, this is, I guess, to be expected, right? We've been talking about the AI browser a lot. Microsoft has their
Yeah,
own browser. Microsoft is
yeah,
very big in the AI game, especially with their
yeah,
OpenAI partnership. So now they bring Copilot to Edge. I haven't
yeah.
tried it. I'm
I
not sure if it's all available here already. Not sure if there's any what the pricing will be on that. Looks interesting, and then they're positioning it really as a single input. So like with the same window, you can do search, you can ask questions, you can drill down, you can interact with different tabs, etc.
yeah, I think we talked about a future like this
Yeah,
um
yeah.
previous episode, right? Like I think they also even mentioned that they want to.
Well, indeed, yeah, we discussed another like there are a lot of these browser projects today, right? But we didn't really discuss Microsoft, which is of course the elephant in the room because they're big in AI and have a browser.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. They even mentioned that in the future they want to add additional context like history and credentials so people can actually start booking stuff and stuff like that, right? So again, I also feel like this is killing a whole bunch of projects and startups as well, right? Like it's one of those things.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Especially from Copilot and Edge browser can also like take actions, right? Like if it can actually browse your web pages, if it can do click commands, if it can fill stuff in, like it goes very quickly then, right?
Indeed, indeed. But I'm curious because I think you tried one browser before that had a bit of that promise, but you said it was really bad, huh?
That's a while ago, yeah. That's a while ago. But I actually tested a bit more with ChatGPT Agent that was recently released. They use they call it a remote browser, so it's a bit of a browser instance, but you connect to it. So that also means that like you can close down your window and it will still complete in the background. And how they did it, and I actually found an interesting premise is that like I can ask, find me that flight and book it for me. But then I can also like for example, from the moment that I need to fill in my credit card credentials, I can take over the browser and I can fill it in
I
myself.
see. I see.
Like you can do these things, and it feels. I actually played around with it a bit today, and it feels quite fluent
Huh.
for
Okay.
the way that they positioned it. And I think if you're in your actual browser, which you will be with Edge, like you can make it even more fluent.
True. But at the same time, you're also constrained to the browser world, right? And
So
maybe even if you're on the agent and the experience already feels fluent, maybe there is an argument to just be broader than that. Curious, huh? Like maybe we have to deep dive one day on this OpenAI agent thing. Very
yeah, I
curious
think
what
it
you're.
will be cool to do a session on it. But I think they're
Yeah.
also like I think 3 years from now, when you see someone like calling a restaurant to make a reservation, you will think the person is completely outdated, right?
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
is this old geezer that doesn't know how his agent works.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, even today, to a certain extent, is a bit already like, why are you,
Yeah,
why are you
yeah,
calling? Like, you can do async. It's like,
yeah,
I
true.
mean, I don't know, but it's true.
And
It's true.
actually, the trip that I'm now on, I actually did a lot of selection of spots using ChatGPT because like
Already.
we visit a lot of campsites, but we want a bit like we prefer certain scenery, we prefer some certain activities around it, we prefer some like maybe it's close to the seaside, maybe an alpine terrain, and like there are so many options. Like it takes so much time to visit all those websites. Like it's super easy when you do like a deep research with ChatGPT to do these things.
Yeah.
So it's
I think for me, sometimes it's a win just because there's so many options. And after a while, I kind of don't care. Like, as long as it's one of those three, I don't care. But I think just having someone saying, okay, just pick this one, I was like, yeah, okay, let's go with this.
especially when you can define like these are my requirements, right? And then give me the 10
Yeah,
best
exactly.
options, and then I can fine choose.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think it's also for me, it's a life improvement in that sense because I can, even though I'm getting better at it, like having the choice paralysis, like I think it helps. It helps with these things as well, and you live more. AI
Yeah.
helping you live more. There's a slogan for you. What else do we have? Should we go to the next topic?
Yes.
All right. So we have Beijing-based Zhipu. I'm gonna guess that's how it's called. ZHIPU has open source GLM 4.5, pitching it as fresh fuel for intelligent agents and adding yet another model to China's bulging roster. The company says the new release is, and I quote, designed for intelligent agent applications, a phrase hinting at growing ambitions beyond plain chatbots. Actually, I didn't know about this company, but apparently from the article, even OpenAI acknowledged this startup, or maybe I didn't know. I just didn't know the name. Have you tried this model, actually, Bart? GLM 4.5.
No, I haven't tried it. It was introduced. It was released, I think, yesterday, the day before. It was very recent.
Yeah, the
Um,
article is from yesterday. So
yeah, yesterday. And when you, it's a mixture of experts model. It's the total all the experts together contain 355 billion total parameters. Crazy big to think about.
yeah, yeah,
It is today the best performing open source model. It outperforms Kimi that we discussed, I think, 2 episodes earlier. It also
yeah.
outperforms DeepSeek.
And
It's
Llama is old news at this point, huh?
Llama's old news at this point, exactly. And it's got a lot of funding also. The Zhipu, it's a relatively new company. It's also apparently very heavily local government backed. What was interesting to me, and I didn't notice, but like the amount speaks volumes. Like it's China's 1,509th LLM, which is
Yeah,
a lot, right?
crazy, huh? It's crazy. I think it also links a bit to the who versus China race story, right? Like you do see China. There's a lot of stuff they're doing.
Yeah, this is
One
that
thing as well.
this pace is like this completely outpaces Europe, right?
Yeah, one thing I thought it was
Maybe
funny the
in
first
eight
time I
months we
saw.
get a new update about a new Mistral model.
Yeah, that's true, and it's gonna be like disappointing, or it's gonna be a bit like. I mean, it's gonna be really good, but these things are going so fast that it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
if it's not the best, it's a bit like yeah, I'll wait for something
exactly.
else. One thing I thought it was funny. The first thing I saw is a GLM 4.5. It does if you squint your eyes, you
Yeah, I
do read
fully
like
agree.
GPT 4.5, right?
Exactly,
Like it's
exactly.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny, but it's cool. Again, very curious to see how this these models as well, and like I also heard that Gwen. I think Gwen also had an open source model. They also had the Gwen
Yeah,
CLI, and I think it was one of the first ones that seemed to be comparable to Anthropic for coding. I think that's something that excites me a bit, you know, just kind of like seeing how people are doing, making it open, you know, trying to level a bit the playing field.
I think it
Yeah,
still costs a lot to train these models, but apparently a lot of companies are able to do it, and I think that's good news, right? For global competitiveness. Interesting is that
indeed.
I was looking a bit the chatter on Reddit. Some people try to just a simple hello world, like hello, who are you? And like half of the time it answers, I'm Zhipu's GLM 4.5. The other time it says, I'm this model from Anthropic.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So, but people don't. It's their hosted it's their hosted API, and people don't really know is it because it's trained on training data based maybe on Sonnet, which is done a lot, right? And like a lot of these companies generate training data by using other models, or maybe just because when their API is called too much, like there's too heavy load on the service, it maybe proxies to Anthropic to still be able to actually
Mm.
give the user a response potentially.
I see, I see, I see, I see.
That's the
Interesting.
positive
But it's
answer.
also, yeah, yeah, yeah. But if it is the latter, I think it's also interesting that they can they can get away by being distinguishable with Anthropic, right?
And it's actually
If
the hosted model is very cheap. Like it makes if you just look at money versus quality, like it makes a lot of sense to use it. If you look at the benchmarks, I haven't tried the model myself yet.
and then if you want to host these things easily, can you use Open Router for this or no? Like not you host it up, but like pay for these
Use,
things
yeah,
and
I think they're available through OpenRouter, yes.
very cool. I think anything else you want to say on this part? I think those are the topics that we wanted to dive deeper, but we have more stuff, right? That we wanted to just share, and we put the links on the show notes if you would like to have a look.
Yep.
What else do we have, Bart?
We'll read them one by one. Normally we do a discussion on every article, but because we're in holiday mode, we'll just read the headlines. So we have the Hunyan. Not sure I'm pronouncing this correctly. The Hunyan 3D
Probably
World
not.
Model 1.0. Tencent's Hunyan team just dropped its first open source engine for instant explorable 3D worlds, stirring excitement across game and VR circles. Their launch tweet beams. We're thrilled to release an open source Hunyan 3D World Model, the 1.0, inviting hosts to imagine the possibilities. Very cool model. Just a quick note on this. I looked into it. It's you use a few text prompts and you basically, through a few steps, the paper explains it quite neatly. You generate a 3D world, and they also provide you with a HTML-based world explorer, so you can load that 3D world into your browser and you can actually walk through it.
Very
It
cool.
looks really cool. If you go to the website, there are a lot of videos to give you a bit of a feel of what you can do with it.
Very cool indeed. Also, it would be fun to see some projects on this. What else do we have? We have Opal. Google Labs has unwrapped Opal, a drag and drop playground where non-coders can chain models and prompts into bite-sized AI apps. The post kicks off with, and I quote, "We're excited to announce Opal, a line that invites makers everywhere to start remixing AI workflows." So this looks like there are a lot of low-code, no-code solutions, right, for the AI apps, the Gen AI apps. And N8N is one notable one there, which actually I heard the other day it's supposed to be spelled Nathan, which I thought was clever, but maybe too clever.
Wow, I didn't know that actually.
Yeah, that's what someone said. So I guess this is a solution from Google, drag and drop thing. So if you're not as techy, but you would like to bring your AI app to life, this is the place, or this is a place, right? What else?
Then we have a developer, Will McGugan, known from Textual, Python 2 library,
Enrich.
and Rich. He has prototyped Toad, a flicker-free terminal UI meant to tame and turbocharge agentic coding workflows. He quips, "I'm a little salty that neither Anthropic nor Google reached out to me before they released their AI coding agents," throwing playful shade. You're a McGugan fan, right, Marilla?
Well, a fan is a strong word, but I think I've used some stuff that he built. I think it was pretty cool. I think this one, so he talks about building CLI for agents. He actually talks a bit even about architecture and how you can do things. He also quote unquote criticizes a bit the Cloud Code and the Gemini CLI. It's written in JavaScript, so I thought it was also interesting to hear a bit his thoughts on what could be done. And this is not a project that is open source yet, but he probably will open source in the future. He's taking a sabbatical from Textual, the company that he founded, but he also sunsetted. Let's say he stopped because he wasn't working out. So I'm curious
I'm a little
to
bit
see.
skeptical on this.
Yeah, did you read this?
I went through it. I'm skeptical because like he's positioning Toad like this is new CLI based agentic coding thing. But the main premise he's making on why he's creating it is because there is Flickr in the
Yeah,
Claude Code and the Gemini CLI,
yeah,
which I never noticed. I mean, that
yeah,
should not
yeah.
be a main promise, right?
Yeah, he's a, you can tell he's a CLI geek, right? I mean, he
Yeah, he
founded a
went
company
very
on
deep
this.
into the TUI
Yeah,
space.
indeed. So I think it's like
And I
when he
think
sees something like this,
all competition is welcome on this, and there are actually a number of open source projects. I think we discussed a few in the past. But the promise of a CLI should be more than there is zero Flickr.
I think so too. I mean, he does mention as well like architecting the applications, how we can grow, but I think
Ooh, yeah.
I think it could be nice. I think I'm curious to see exactly what it is. And what could get me excited is me building like little CLI applications with AI things to try to help my life. But let's see, let's see. And finally, we have Alibaba. Actually, this is the Gwen coder. Huh? Alibaba's new Gwen 3 coder model enters the code generation fray, claiming boosts that rival both domestic peers and Western heavyweights. A company pitches it as, and I quote, its most advanced coding tool to date, end quote. A boast that rises the stakes in China's escalating model wars. I think actually I alluded to this, and I forgot that we had it
Yeah, you
covered
mentioned
here.
it earlier, right?
Yeah, I preluded this. Let's say I saw that. So Gwen 3, I think it's an open source model. I think,
Indeed.
and it's from Alibaba, and they also created a CLI tool to rival Claude Code, and it's actually a fork of Gemini CLI. So we were talking about
That's
CLI
a
coding
fork. Didn't
agents.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, okay, cool.
That's what I heard as well. So Gemini CLI is open source project. So they actually forked it and created Gwen 3. And one thing I saw is that it's cheaper to run. It has like I think it has less parameters, but I think it's cheaper to run open source. And it was one of the first ones that I saw that rivaled Anthropic in benchmarks on how good of a coding tool it is. So haven't tried it.
Yeah, and very
I,
much
I,
niche down on being a coding assistant, right?
yeah. I think so. I
And
think
even
so.
more specifically on multi-step agentic programming tasks, which you typically see, like that process you see when you use something like Gemini or a Claude Code, where you have multi steps to come to a certain result. That's apparently that's where it's really trained for.
Yeah, indeed. Which I mean, if it works well, fits your need, you know what to do, you know who to go to when you have a question. I think that's also
And
fine.
it's weird that in today's world, like an announcement like this 2 years ago, a new Quen model would have been major, and
Yeah,
now it's already surpassed by what was it called, the Zhipu's model.
yeah. The GLM 4.5.
So this was released. Alibaba's was released on the 23rd of July, and then Zipos was the 28th. So yeah,
Yeah,
they had their time to
yeah.
shine. On to
And
the next one.
tomorrow we'll have another one. You know, so it's just like that. That's the world now. But that's the thing.
So
Goes
well,
back a bit to what we're saying. Yeah, it feels a bit like of a AI race, right? It's
yeah,
like
true.
it does. It like I don't know. Yeah. But that's it. That's what we had for this week. Anything else you want to add, Bart?
No, I think it was fun to do the short session, and I think what we should also do, like discussing a bit, like there's this model, there's that new model, but I think maybe we should also dive a bit deeper into how can you use this, what are the use cases, what are some success cases in the industry. I think that would be interesting as well to search that out a bit more.
I think it could also be nice to have a bit of a like you mentioned the OpenAI agent to kind of
Exactly. Yeah.
share a bit
Exactly. Yeah.
like oh this is what we did, this is really cool, this is our first impressions. So I think that could be really nice as well. But another time in another place, not on a quick round mode maybe. But in
Exactly.
any case, Bart, thanks a lot for joining. Enjoy your time
Hey,
there. Enjoying
thank you.
the sunset.
I will. I will. A big thank you to our listeners. We love all the interaction and feedback. And if you have any thoughts you want to share, hit us up wherever. Um,
Indeed.
don't forget to subscribe.
Exactly. And also, if you like this format, a bit shorter and just like news at the end without too much deep dives, let us know as well. You know, always happy to hear your feedback. Art, thank you. See you next time.
See you
See
next
when it
time.
is.
Ciao.
Ciao.